Hey everybody, I'm Jonathan,
And I'm Shane.
and man, we are so glad that you guys are tuning in for Coffee with the Pastor. So, how you been, brother?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
I do have my coffee.
Come
I,
on
I
with
do
it.
love coffee.
You are a pastor.
Yeah, I'm here. But anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So,
no, we're doing good.
how's been things going in group?
Group, I want to shout out to the Braxton group. I'm kind of biased, but probably the best group on the earth.
Do what? Come on now, hold on. I lead a group. I can't just say, oh yeah, you're right.
Just say it.
yeah, y'all do have the best
yeah.
group.
We
yeah.
got it going on. So,
Exactly,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we got a great group.
Shout out to my guys and gals. We're on the online group. Represent. So we got people from across the pond.
Yeah.
Literally.
Where's that?
From
Broadway?
England. The other pond, the bigger pond.
The big pond.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get into it. So if you've been tuning in, you know we've been going through different sections of Matthew sequential based off what you guys are learning in your studies. And so we're coming down to the end, man. Just 2 more left.
It is. It is. It's flown by.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed it?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in chapters 21 through 25 today, and we're kind of labeling this Jesus last week. And while that is sort of true, it starts with him coming into his last week, but really chapters 26 and 27 and 28 finish up the last part of his week.
Yeah, and not the weird thing, but I guess the irony is not the last week, it's the beginning, right?
Yes.
It's really the beginning of the story.
That preaches, sir. So chapter 21, let's start right there at the beginning, and you probably have read this before, or you certainly have actually celebrated this a lot. In church, the week before Easter, we have what we call Palm Sunday. This is Palm Sunday that we're reading about.
Was it Palm Sunday?
Because they had palm branches, I guess. Yeah, you know.
They laid them out?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Jesus, he starts out, as you read it, I'm sure, where he tells his disciples to go get him a donkey. And I always wondered why. Like, why a donkey of all the things?
Why not a chariot with, a white horse or something?
Exactly. Show your authority. Show how strong you are. But honestly, it's because he was fulfilling a prophecy. Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9 and 10 talk about it. And what's so interesting about it is it says that the Messiah, the king, is going to ride in on a donkey into Jerusalem, and he is going to set things straight. And so those who knew the scriptures from the Old Testament, they knew when they saw Jesus coming in on a donkey, hold up.
It was getting ready to get set straight.
Getting ready to get set straight. And so that's why it's so interesting. And so I wanted to highlight a verse or two from chapter 21, because if you remember, the people, when they see Jesus coming in on a donkey, they know his power. They've seen him do miracles. They've probably, many of them, heard his teachings. And so they begin to shout, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And so they're sort of saying, we recognize you're the Messiah, like you are the one. But the thing is, they didn't really understand his purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And not everybody was singing his praises
Oh, yeah.
either as he came in. I guess the Pharisees, and especially in the other Gospels, they talk about like, hey, Jesus, you need to talk to them people. You need to calm them down, let them, back them back down. And I think he says, if they don't do it, the rocks will cry out.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, skipping down, Jesus does a thing a lot of people get excited about when he walks into the temple. And, we talk about his righteous anger, if you've heard about that. He's overthrown the tables. And I thought we'd take a little moment to talk about that.
Yeah. And it seems like in these chapters, 21 through 25, it feels like he's got a little bit of edge, or a little, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like he's got extra swag or something,
Yeah, so.
And I do wonder if it's the sense of urgency. He knows it's coming to an end.
Right.
And it's like, I've got this much time to make sure you get all this, right?
Yeah.
And so where it starts is Jesus walks up to the temple, and you can see this right there in verse 12. He enters the temple courts. So it's not the temple building itself, but it's the area outside of the temple. And he sees these, I'm going to call it chaos, all right?
Like a mob.
Yeah,
right?
There's so much going on. So just put yourself in the scene right now. There's all these people coming and going. Some are trying to get into the temple. There's animals everywhere because of sacrifices in that day.
Yeah.
There's some people who it would seem as though are actually selling animals out of convenience
Right.
for the worship, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It reminds me like whenever it could be something good or something bad, and people flock somewhere. It's like somebody's gonna sell something, right?
Yes.
And they're gonna sell it for more than probably what it's worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. I think they're selling some of these animals for more. They're making profit off of it. And then I think where really he gets mad is there. It says in verse 1, he overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. So the money changers, some of you maybe if you've traveled out of country, you'll really get this, right? So, in the United States, we have the US dollar. You go to Mexico, it's the peso. You go to Costa Rica, it's the colon. Well, the value of the dollar is different in every location based off of what currency they use.
And when you say location, it could be a location there in that country. I mean, not just
Yeah.
U.S. to
the other
Mexico,
country,
right.
yeah. So when Jesus sees what's happening is these people from all these countries are coming in to worship God, and the money changers are taking advantage of these people.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't that tick you off?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, if it ticked him off, it should tick us off, right?
You preaching,
Yeah.
sir? And he makes his famous statement, so many of you have heard, and it's in verse 13. It says, "It is written," he says to them, "My house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers." Whew. Now, I just want to highlight the house of prayer part. When we come to church, this is a place to pray.
Yeah.
It's a place where God sets people free. What you think?
Yeah. Well, definitely, it is that place to where that's what it should be about, and a lot of times we make it about other things, and we can get caught up in order of service. I mean, for us, we can get caught up in order of service or the next thing we're doing in a service, or we could make it about just coming to church, make it a check the box kind
Yeah.
of thing instead of making it that house of prayer.
All right, next chapter, chapter 23. At the very end, just the last 3 verses of chapter 23, this is where I just wanted to highlight because of where we're at right now in the world at the time of this recording.
Right.
He's all talking about Jerusalem.
Yeah, it reminds me of whenever, like growing up, and my mom may get on to me about something, but whenever she got on, I mean, you knew whenever she was like angry or when she meant it, and I'm like, I think he meant this.
He meant it.
He meant this.
It's kind of like, I guess if he could, he's like saying, you didn't get it.
Yeah.
I'm here, And like a mother hen will bring, I mean, he just wants to put him in a big hug, but he knows if they don't believe in him as Messiah, that he's going to die for their sins, they're not going to be with him.
Yep.
It's so sad.
It is sad.
And so why I bring this one up is right now in our, in our world, there's a lot going on in Israel. There's always been.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's very relevant right now.
Yeah.
We need to be praying for Israel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I'm so glad to be a part of a church that supports Israel and not just with money, but with prayer.
Yes.
And so it's
Absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. Chapter 24, let's go into there. And I honestly, we may not even talk much about chapter 25. The rest of our time, we're just going to hit right here. And we've got just a few minutes left in this recording. But the disciples, I think they're starting to kind of catch on. Okay, hold up. Things look like they're changing around here.
Yeah.
And so they ask a question. They say, Jesus, how do we know what's going to be the end times? What's it going to look like?
Yeah, he talks about the signs, and there's things like watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. And if you've been alive long enough, you've seen people who almost have a God complex, or someone who's trying to lead people astray.
Absolutely.
But he also talks about you'll hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Oh my.
But see to it that you're not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Famines, earthquakes, in various places. When I think about it, it's not just like the normal places, right?
Yes.
Things are happening in various places that typically things don't happen. So,
Absolutely. And I'm not an expert in this stuff, but didn't New York have one recently? And then there was one like
yeah, the earthquakes. stuff,
earthquake, yeah. And
mhm.
then there was one over in Asia recently. It's like just constantly now we're seeing more and more of it. And we could be close, like it could be tomorrow,
Right.
but it could be a long time from now too,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And he says in verse 29, immediately after the distress of those days, the sun's going to be darkened. I know people were wondering if the total eclipse was going to be one of the things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, yeah. The sky that's been lit up at the time of this recording recently, I don't know if that's it.
Yeah,
You know.
the aurora borealis.
Exactly.
That happened.
We ain't never seen that in North
No,
Carolina.
I know people who have been to Alaska have never seen it, and then they're here in Lee County, they see it. So,
It's so funny, right? But here's where I want to get to. Again, I don't know if that stuff means Jesus is coming tomorrow. All I know is I see what I see, and that's all I got. But verse 31, and this is where we all should get excited. Jesus says, and then he, talking about God, he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. What's he talking about? Come on with
He's coming back.
He's coming back.
Yeah.
Rapture's happening, baby.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go. And so there's hope in that.
There is.
There's hope. No matter what happens in this world,
Yeah.
there's hope.
Yeah, and he continues to talk about some of, we got to be ready, right?
Got to be ready.
I mean, we can't put the brakes on or hit the cruise control or anything like that. We got to keep going.
That's
keep,
it.
Keep reaching the lost. Keep doing what we're supposed to be doing. Keep being a house of prayer. Keep doing those things that we're supposed to be doing.
That's it. Amen. Well, one last thing just to say as we wind this thing down, and it's tied to what you just said. Jesus says, verse 42, keep watch, because you don't know the time nor the hour.
Yeah.
And so what we're challenging you as a church, and again, beautiful how his timing's working, it's the Lifesaver Sundays coming up.
Bring somebody to church. You'll never know that one invite, how it could change somebody's life for good. Yeah.
Amen. We love you guys. See you soon.